Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. And this week I'm doing movies all about the Wizard of Oz. And this one I felt was very appropriate for Thanksgiving, as the beginning of the movie actually takes place on that holiday. And that would be the 1978 film, The Wiz. Here is your trivia question for today. What is the lion's full name? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So, in the film The Wiz, we meet our main character of Dorothy Gale. Dorothy has led a pretty sheltered life, living with her aunt and uncle, and not really even going outside of her neighborhood practically. Now, while her family is over for Thanksgiving dinner, her dog Toto runs out into a really bad snowstorm. She goes out after him, but then a blizzard comes along and pulls her and Toto up into it. Once Dorothy and Toto are finally released from it, they end up in a land called Oz, and more specifically, Munchkin Land. It's here where she meets the Munchkins and a witch named Miss One. This witch explains to her that the only way that she can probably get home is by following the yellow brick road to the Emerald City and meeting with the Wiz. So she does in fact follow the road, and on the way she ends up making some friends, including a scarecrow, a tin man, and a cowardly lion. So, with each of them having a reason to actually meet the wizard, will they in fact find him, or will they end up running into the Wicked Witch instead? So, this film is based off of a stage musical, and that musical is, of course, based off of The Wizard of Oz. Motown Productions bought the rights to the stage show for this film. This was also their 8th feature film. The movie was directed by Sidney Lumet. The original director, though, was John Badham. He stepped down as he objected to the age of the actress playing Dorothy, and I'll get into that more in a bit. This was something I found very surprising that I wasn't aware of. Joel Schumacher was the one who wrote the screenplay for this film. It was also due to Schumacher's connections in the fashion industry that they were able to procure hundreds of costumes for the Emerald City sequence. Now, the plan was to have Stephanie Mills play Dorothy, as she did so for the original stage production. However, Diana Ross lobbied to play the character of Dorothy. Everyone believed that she was too old to do so, but she said that the role was ageless and she could guarantee Michael Jackson would join the cast. Diana Ross at the time was 33, but they changed the age of Dorothy to 24. So Michael Jackson was in fact then brought in to play the Scarecrow. This also was his feature film debut. Now, another actor that was potentially up for the role of Scarecrow was Jimmy J.J. Walker. Here's 2 random pieces of trivia related to the Scarecrow, by the way. If you ever looked at his nose and thought, why does that thing look familiar? It's because this was actually a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup wrapper. Secondly, the song the Scarecrow sings, You Can't Win, was originally written for the stage show as a song for the Winkies to sing to Dorothy about the futility of escaping Eveline. Since it was cut from the stage show, they gave it to the Scarecrow for the film. Nipsey Russell plays the character of the Tin Man in this film. And if you've seen one of my previous reviews about the film Heart Beeps, you would know that the same makeup team that did the Tin Man in this film would do the robots in Heart Beeps. Ted Ross is one of the few actors from the stage show to reprise their role in the film, as he plays the character of the Cowardly Lion. Richard Pryor plays the character of the Wiz in this film. But did you happen to know that this was his first movie where he actually started to sport his iconic mustache? Prior to this, you see what I did there? He did not wear a mustache in his films. Mabel King is another person that came from the original stage show, as she did play the character of Eveline there as well. But at one point they were potentially thinking of having the character played by Eartha Kitt. Lena Horne plays the character of Glinda. This was, however, unfortunately her final film. 2 more honorable mentions, in my opinion, are Thelma Carpenter as Miss One and Teresa Merritt as Aunt M. Quincy Jones was the music supervisor for this film. He also appears as the Emerald City piano player, but he was not the pianist for this film. What's funny is, Jones wasn't sure about the casting of Michael Jackson. He ended up enjoying working with him, though, after all, so much so that they would then work on 3 albums together, including Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. Apparently, one of the guests that appeared at Aunt M's party that had their feature film debut was Robin Givens. In this version of The Wizard of Oz, they changed back to the silver slippers that appear in the original story. The yellow brick road flooring design that was used throughout the film was created by the Congolium Flooring Company, and in fact, they even marketed it for home use. The head of the flying monkeys is named Cheetah. This is actually a reference to Tarzan, as his monkey friend was also named Cheetah. The movie was entirely filmed in New York. For the outdoor set of Munchkinland, they used the New York State Pavilion. The roller coaster area where they found the Tin Man was filmed in Coney Island. Where the group first meets the Cowardly Lion, it may look a lot like the New York Public Library, but they couldn't actually use that location as it was never empty of people. The outdoor set for the Emerald City was actually filmed at the World Trade Center. Filming was cut short though due to wind and scheduling. So when it comes to the film The Wiz, I really enjoy this adaptation. It's a fun, very different version of The Wizard of Oz, but it still has some really great songs in it. For instance, every once in a while, I still get Ease On Down the Road stuck in my head. So I'm going to give this film a 4 out of 5. Now, if you did enjoy this one, other movies I recommend are Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, In the Heights, Tommy, and Annie. Now it's time to answer the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. What is the lion's full name? So, in the subway station, the lion reveals that his full name is Fleetwood Coupe DeVille. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. And if there's a movie that you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.